Then next we have Creature Shock, and Creature Shock is also a point and click adventure and also has some rail shooting elements in it. I have this game also for the PC, and it is a conversion of the PC, but for some kind of reason they left out a couple of levels, and I actually beat the game on the PC. And normally the first level is a shooting level where you fly around with a spaceship, and in the CDI version it looks like you only play the point and click / rail shooting levels, and the graphics don't look as good as on the PC. Not the video scenes, they look identical, but all the levels, they don't look as good as on the PC. But this is also a really cool game. It also has kind of some, let's say, horror elements. This is really a cool game that I would really recommend for the Philips CDI. Next we have Lost Ride. And Lost Ride is one of the last games that were ever released. Interestingly, it is, as far as I know, not completely finished. The game has a couple of bugs, and basically it is a rail shooter where you also have the ability to change the directions, and you drive through those tunnels and get attacked by bats and other stuff. This game shows what graphics were capable on the CDI, so it's actually a pretty good looking game, but to me the game actually has a little too less of let's say gameplay, or there's not much that you can control in this game. It looks pretty cool and everything, but I'm not a real fan of this game. Also, I didn't play it very much, but yeah, it kind of looks cool. Now, next game is Chaos Control, and Chaos Control is a rail shooter, and Chaos Control reminds me a lot of a Laserdisc game, since when you shoot down or destroy the targets don't disappear from the screen. They stay on the screen, they burn up, let's call it like that, and yeah, they don't shoot at you anymore. But beside that, I have to say, it is also one of those games that show what the system was capable graphic-wise, and it is kind of fun. I played it a little bit, and I actually remember back in the days that I was very interested in this game when the CDI was actually advertised also by us in Austria, and everywhere in the big electronic stores there were some CDIs with this game playing on the screen, and yeah, back then it actually looked pretty cool. It's a nice game, but not really great, let's call it like that. And also there was a sequel of the game which was called Solar Crusader. This is, as far as I know, the last game that was released for the Philips CDI, and this is the rarest game that you can ever find on the CDI. So, like I said, it's okay, but not really great. Now, next game is Escape from Cyber City, and this is a conversion from a Laserdisc arcade, and from the look of the game it really reminds me of the Captain Harlock anime, and every time I put this game into the CDI I really want to play this game and beat this game, which I haven't managed yet, and this is really one of the brutalest and hardest games that I ever played, and it doesn't even matter if you change the difficulty level on this game. I thought in the beginning that you can play this with the Peacekeeper, but it doesn't work with the light gun. And this is one game that you can only play with the CDI mouse or maybe with the trackball, since it is more or less kind of a rail shooter. And yeah, just from the graphics it looks actually pretty cool. So yeah, in a kind of way for me it's let's say an average game for the CDI. Next we have Laser Lords, and yeah, this is let's call it a side-scrolling action adventure. What's really interesting about this game is that the cutscenes, if you can actually call them, all the characters look like they are made of clay, and yeah, you are a chosen warrior that has to solve some puzzles and go on quests, and I guess you have to save the universe or whatever. This is also one game that I played only for the review, and as you can hear, yeah, I didn't really like the game, but maybe it's just not my kind of game, so in my opinion I would not recommend this game at all, but maybe there are some people out there who really got into this game or really like this game. So I personally didn't like the game at all, and I didn't understand the game, and I actually didn't want to understand the game.
Just look at me, stuck out in the middle of nowhere with no place to go and no way to get what I need. You don't stop.
Okay, but anyways, let's continue. Next, I want to show you Mystic Midway, and Mystic Midway is, yeah, it is a shooting gallery game, and yeah, it has kind of a horror or Halloween theme.
With a score like that, it's hard for me to put you down, bud. But success has never stopped me.
There's actually not much to say about this game. I mean, you have the narrator. The narrator always tries to insult you, and yeah, you have to match a certain amount of points to go to the next level, and yeah, in the end try to beat the game. It's not bad, but it's also not really that great. And a second game that I also wanted to mention right with this one is Mystic Midway Phantom Express. And actually the first one is Mystic Midway Rest in Pieces, so this is the second part of a series, and you have the same narrator. He also insults you in this game.
You survived infancy. Well, guess what? It's time you had a childhood. Oh, you remember? The dentist? Homework? Bullies following you home? Oh, come now. You'll be late for school. Today is test day. And guess what? You're not prepared!
And this is more a rail shooter. So you drive around and you shoot some things that this game throws at you. I really would recommend that you play this game with the CD mouse or the trackball. And actually I liked Rest in Pieces more than Phantom Express, but the reason why I wanted to show you both games in the end is, number one, they have the same narrator, and when I played the games I recognized the narrator, and maybe some of you also recognized the narrator because they actually made an appearance in another game, and I like it more and more the often I played it. And that is, it came from the desert for the TurboGrafx 16 CD.
Oh, he ain't the king. No way. He's sold out.
Oh, yeah? Well, who's the king, huh?
Roy freaking Orbison! You saying he ain't?
Hey, whoa, hey, listen. Hey, Sonny says that you saw...
I know what I saw. It was big, and it was ugly. I'm gonna bag it, too. Now you better get on your horse, buzzard boy. Sheriff says you messed up the driving real good last night. He says he's got witnesses and everything. You in big trouble, boy. Rock and roll!
Because in this game he's the owner of the local ammo store, and he's actually a pretty interesting and funny character in this game. I just wanted to mention that this guy also made it from the TurboGrafx 16 CD to the CDI. Just one funny side mentioning that I had about the games. Okay, but now we continue with Dragon's Lair, and Dragon's Lair is also an old classic from the arcades. This game was a Laserdisc arcade and it made it to the CDI, and I have to say this is the best conversion that I ever played of Dragon's Lair. The video quality is very good. It's not Laserdisc perfect, but it's as close as you can get. And Dragon's Lair is one of those quick time events, so you basically watch a video scene and at a certain point you have to move in a certain direction or push one of the action buttons, and if you succeed then you continue with the game, and if you're too slow or you choose the wrong direction or push the wrong button, then the character dies. And what's really cool about Dragon's Lair is that after the first video sequence where you get into the castle, every time it changes the video scenes, so it's not always the same. And yeah, you see a lot of the game. There's only one thing that many people complain about about Dragon's Lair on the CDI, and that's after every time your character dies, you have to watch a screen that tells you how many lives you have and shows you the score. But in the end, this is a pretty cool game and I would really recommend it. And just one thing that I wanted to show you is that I actually tried and I also beat the game, and I made myself, back in the days when I got it, a little walkthrough guide, so that this is my walkthrough for my game. I know I could have looked it up on online, but in the end I wanted to beat the game for myself. So just to show you that I actually really liked this game on the CDI. Okay, but now we continue with Dragon's Lair 2. This was also in the arcades, also Laserdisc arcade, and it's basically the same like Dragon's Lair 1, but number one, the video quality on this game is not that high. For some kind of reason it is very pixelated in some scenes. Then also this time all the scenes are in one line, so you can actually memorize everything, and that's how you beat basically the game. The only thing that changes sometimes the mirror the video sequences, so that you have to push in the other direction to beat the scene now in a mirrored version. And yeah, actually I liked Dragon's Lair 1 a lot more than Dragon's Lair 2, but it's also a nice game.
Get me kidnapped again, idiot! Don't cough! You better find my daughter or else! Coward! I know you're in here. I raised a princess who married a fraud! Dirt! Hold still! You can.
Okay, next we have Space Ace, and Space Ace is also a Laserdisc arcade, also a quick time event game, and many people said that Space Ace is actually the sequel to Dragon's Lair, but it was only a different title that was extremely similar to Dragon's Lair. And Space Ace has a nice quality. It's somewhere between Dragon's Lair 1 and Dragon's Lair 2. Also this time all the scenes are in one line, so in the end they always play the same scenes, and after some time when you recognized all the directions and everything, it is pretty easy. And yeah, but it's also a great classic, and if you like Laserdisc games, then I actually would recommend all three games. I think it's a pretty cool idea that they actually got the Laserdisc games for the CDI. Okay, but now we continue. The next game is Lemmings, and yeah, also Lemmings made it on the CDI. Also a classic. It's a puzzle game where you try to help your lemmings get through the level without dying, and it's a good port and a perfect game to play with the CDI mouse. There's actually not much that I can tell you about this game. I mean, almost everybody knows the Lemmings, and in the end it's not very different than all the other versions of Lemmings. So if you like Lemmings, then I can really recommend this game. If not, then well, then don't buy it. Okay, next one is Peck Panic, and the first time I saw this game, just the cover, I thought it is a normal Pac-Man game, but in the end it's actually more like a Tetris, or actually more like a Dr. Mario game. If you like those kind of games, then yeah, I would recommend it. I'm not a great fan of Tetris or Columns or Dr. Mario or anything, but it's a good game in the end. Next we have Merlin's Apprentice, and this is yeah, more or less a puzzle game where you have to solve riddles, and I actually really like this game because some of the puzzles are actually pretty great and creative. I mean, okay, the first level is more or less kind of a light gun shooter where you have to shoot some leaves and other stuff. And the second level, or the second task, is that you have to solve a picture puzzle, and the third task is that you have to decode a message, which is pretty cool. And later on there are also some other puzzles or riddles, and I actually I beat this game years ago, but in the end, for the last, or maybe even for the last two riddles, I actually had to consult the internet because those riddles were so amazingly hard that I could not solve those. So if you like puzzles and riddles, then I would really recommend Merlin's Apprentice. I personally actually like the game. Okay, next one is Cluedo. The mysteries continue. This is the second Cluedo game that was released for the CDI, and yeah, it's basically a conversion from the board game, and it has a lot of full motion videos. And yeah, just for this review I played it by myself, so there's not much action going on in the game, and it was also the first time that I played it.
Who's there? I saw you come in. Look, stop playing games, will you? Mrs. White. What on earth are you doing here in the dark? With Body's knife.
If you like Cluedo, I guess I could recommend this game, and yeah, but let's continue with the next game. And the next game is this one, Asterix, Die große Reise. This is the German title. There was an English version of this game called Caesar's Challenge, and I have to say this must be my favorite title on the CDI, or at least one of my favorite. It is a board game. It features almost every character of the Asterix universe. Graphics are great. This is really a fun game for the whole family. And you have so many mini games in this game, and it's more or less based on Trivial Pursuit, so you have to collect some special items, and when you're actually on the field with the special item, then you have to answer questions, historical questions, so it's not really that easy, this game, but it's really well made. You can actually see that they put really some effort and some love into this game, and this is one game that I would really highly recommend. Nobody else talks about this game, but I think this is one of the coolest games that I've played, at least on the CDI.
Fantastisch! Du bekommst diesen hervorragenden Käse. Iss ihn aber nicht gleich unterwegs.
Wir Gallier fürchten uns nur vor einem, dass uns der Himmel auf den Kopf fällt. Hilf diesem wackeren Dorfbewohner, glücklich davonzukommen.